Thank you for all the effort you put in these. You can see what we've been doing the last 2 days. René, next slide. Well, this is the hackathon, of course, to create a playful applications for the public space. And by that, we have been going through, at the moment, 3 stages. At first, we've been mapping all the resources that are out there so people can use them to create their applications. They've been making it happen, hacking the city, unraveling opportunities, creating cyber playgrounds, hacking the lighting, discovering hidden treasures. And now it's up to you to decide which of these applications best fits our goals. They've been doing some 1-minute pitches, which have been recorded on video and will be put online, but we're not going to show them right now, I guess. One back. And this is an idea of the general program we had, all the pitches we started with. I don't think everything is still in place, but we ended up with 8 challengers. So you will be watching 8 presentations today. Well, this is the time for the jury to be introduced. From left to right, are you sitting according to the schedule here? Not completely. Heidi Buitels, second from the left. Economist and project manager, interested in humanity and as such makes an effort to innovate and improve society. Well, welcome to the jury. Gert-Jan Kuiper, who's sitting all the way on the other edge. A project manager at VPRO Digitaal, one of our television companies in the Netherlands. Responsible for sites and applications like VPRO.nl, 3 for 12 and SuperStreamMe. Welcome. Irene Lammers, project manager and strategist at Provincie of Noord-Brabant and responsible for the province policy concerning digitalization. Welcome to the jury. And last, in the big chair. You're going to be the chairman of the jury, or is that not set yet? Seth van der Meer, entrepreneurs in games and data. He is aware of trends, consumer behavior and technology, and above all, a creative person. So welcome, Seth. Then, of course, for you all, the prizes. The first prize, which is 1,500 euros. Second prize, 1,000 euros. Third, 500. And we have an extra prize. 5 tickets to the IoT conference in Utrecht. When will it be held, René? 14th of April of this year. You can be at the IoT conference. And we have a follow-up prize which will be given out on the 92nd of this month at the Beyond Data Congress. So that's what you're up against. About the presentations, you'll have 5 minutes to present your project, do a demonstration, and then the jury will have a short period of time to ask you some questions.
Okay, hello everybody, my name is Steve and I present you Smart Air. My name is Steve, we have made it by Robert and by Tim, and today there was something happened. We go to the next sheet. Every day you have 4 seconds to take a break. That means that you take 20,000 times every day a break. And it's very important that we live in a healthy air and that we can together make a health city for every person. From the Reviden report, they say that 80,000 people die every day about an unhealthy air. And we can make that better. We can make this air better. But how can we do this? There's one very important information. If we go to the next sheet, you can see that about normally saturation, the oxygen concentration is 38%. But if you walk in the city, the oxygen concentration is between 12 and 18%. That means that we live in a healthy in a normally unhealthy city. And we have to make that better. And that is possible by dangerous saturation, oxygen concentration, to make that to a better and higher level. If we go to the next sheet, we could do that with smart air. And smart air, if we go to the next sheet, we can make that better with the air boxes. In Eindhoven, there are 35 air boxes. And in the air boxes is a system they can check a lot of information about the area. They can, for example, take the temperature or the oxygen concentration in a second. And so they can check the information about the area in this moment. If we go to the next sheet, then we go now to the smart air. We will present it. We will make the city in Eindhoven healthy. And how can we do that? We will do that with a lot of information. For example, I'm very sick and my concentration has not been higher than 4, and I will a lot of information about that value. Every person can check a lot of values that you want, and you can do that with a personal check. If we go to the website. Yeah, we can do that. We can go to the menu. And there we go. If you go to the profile, you can see here a lot of things. I have checked it for saves. And there's a scale from 1 to 10. And if the average in the saturation is higher than the average, you get an alert. And this alert means that it's, for example, for me better to not go outside and take, for example, not the car. We will make it better in a region in Eindhoven, and for every time you get a point. For example, if you take not the car or you take not the fireplace, you get a lot of points. And if we go now to the dangers alert, we have made a dangers alert. If you go to home, and then to the Christina guys, you can see that there's now something happened. That the normally value is 7, and that means that something happened. We will present that all the people will go check what has happened in that area, and all the people, they can get a review about the situation. If you click on OK, yeah, you can see, oh, there has happened, I am there, and there in that area there's something happened. You can take a lot of reviews what has happened. So we will make it better with points and to make it with the gamification. We will make Eindhoven to the most innovation city, and we can do that with the airboxes. The airboxes will make Eindhoven one of the most healthy airplaces in the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, smart air is the best concept of Eindhoven. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, for a lot of enthusiasm, which is always good. I see the jury writing. Do you have some questions for Steve too?
Can you explain in just 1 or 2 sentences what the real gamification is? How it challenges people to play against each other, or to...
Yes. Yes, of course. Yeah, I can't not take the button, so I have to ask it. Yeah, we will, for example, when the area is at this moment very not healthy, for example, the value is 6, the people, they get an alert. And at this moment, they ask you to, for example, to take not the car at this moment, but for example, 10 minutes later, or take not the fireplace. And so we will make the concentration better. And for every action that you do at this moment, you get a point. And we will make to categories a lot of regions. And all the points for every region, we can say, oh, that region is very good. It's, the people, they will make it better. But another region, they will do nothing. Maybe we can stimulate the people, and in that region we will also make a rank list from people, from oh, that people, Piet, you do it very, very well, but Klaasje, come on, you can do it. And so we will stimulate that the concentration in the area will be the same in the day.
Thank you, Steve. More questions? No?
If you had a bit more time than this weekend, what would you have added to the concept, the prototype you built?
For example, we will first make the connection with the air boxes. Now we have also the common make a connection with one airboxes, but we will do it with all the airboxes, that we can see in a whole region how is the concentration, oxygen concentration this moment. And then, yeah, we hope that we can then make the gamification to show to people how important it is, and that you can together make it better in your own city. Because a lot of people, they are very sick about the atmosphere, about the oxygen concentration, and we hope that we can together make it a little bit better to check and to see the grades, how bad it is in this moment.
Thank you very much, Steve. Give him an applause. So, next up we got Do Eindhoven. Are you completely set up, technically?
Completely set up.
Great.
I'm happy to say.
Good luck.
Thank you. Dear members of the jury, we as Do Eindhoven would like to ask you a question. When I say the word recession, what do you think about? Take a second. I'm betting you're thinking about economy, money, or things like that, but there's actually a bigger problem which we have right now, and that's social recession. As you can see here, social recession is a problem in Eindhoven. Why is that? There are many social innovative initiatives in the city, and they do really great work for people who can't help themselves. These are usually run by volunteers. They don't have much time to invest, and so for them it's very difficult to find new volunteers and to exchange knowledge between them. The municipality of Eindhoven at the same time thinks it's very important to measure things like participation of its citizens, but it's very poor at doing so, because here you see the Social Monitor data set, or I think it's called Social Monitor, I would have to look that up, but you can see that the values for it are missing if you zoom in. Excuse me for the size of this picture, you'll have to trust me on it. What we want to do as Do Eindhoven is remedy this problem, and we're presenting you a concept which should achieve that. If we go to the next slide, then you can see here that we've looked at who are stakeholders for our initiative, so who do we want to bring together. And fortunately in our group we had someone who was organizing a festival. And our idea now is to take this festival as a use case and to connect in a playful way social innovators with citizens who might be interested in working with these groups. So we've looked at these interests that the various groups have, and we've found a way to bring these together. Next slide, please. Here you see our concept in the form of a storyboard. It reads from left to right. What we will have people do is, when they come to the festival, they will be met at the entrance by 2 or 3 people who will tell them that on the festival field there is a game going on where you can be matched with a social innovative initiative of your choice. It will be explained to them that this will be done by an app. We will have Wi-Fi on the ground so people can download this app, and this app will match through tags. In the second picture you can see an SQL database which we've built with sample data, where we have a bunch of initiatives in there with the tags, and we have tags that users put in. We've tested to see whether we can actually match users with the initiatives. It works, so that's a good thing. People choose from these tags when they enter the festival zone. They go to the center, there's an art piece there which is collaborated on by all of the social initiatives presented at this particular festival. It's held at Sexy Say, by the way. If you feel like attending, it's going to be in a small amount of time, which makes it a challenge for us to get the use case running. But we're confident that we can. In the center of this festival area, there is this art piece with a monitor in there, and that's where people can choose their tags. When they've chosen the tags, they will receive a photo of one person in this festival who is there as well, who they will have to then find. Imagine it as a Where's Wally, which is a conversation starter and which connects these people to the initiatives. At the end, the app shows the locations of the social initiatives within the terrain and can also be used later to connect to the initiatives. Next slide, please. So there's competition in Eindhoven. Other institutions are working on this, and I call it competition, but ideally we would all work together. And we think our app can complement what existing initiatives are doing in a couple of ways. For example, Meetup is now about meeting people for one time without the goal of having a commitment over time. We think we can orchestrate this commitment over time by engagement directly with the initiative. Eindhoven Doet has a great database of initiatives, but it doesn't have a geographical overview of where these initiatives are. So if you think about scaling this up from a festival to a neighborhood, for example, you could start working with a map of the neighborhood. Finally, Vrijwilligerspunt also brings people together, but has to work with a lot of different organizations. Again, a database and an overview would have added value. Next slide, please. So finally, we want to use Sexy Say as a festival, as a use case, to test this actually very simple idea. Then scale it up to a neighborhood in Eindhoven. When that goes well, we want to cover entirety of Eindhoven, and then we want to roll it out nationally. And then we could also develop new and other playful initiatives, such as neighborhood social innovation festivals, platforms for social hackathons which go at specific problems which the neighborhoods have, or we could organize tours past various initiatives, thereby giving them the spotlight. This was our story. We hope we can make Eindhoven do more like this. Thank you.
Very well presented. Thank you very much. Jury, any questions on this particular presentation?
Maybe. No, again, can you explain me a little bit about, I mean, I see a sort of Where's Wally concept, right, where you have to find someone, but then what's next? What will be the outcome of that? Is it just a conversation starter, or is there anything going on behind that? How do you make it, let's say, sustainable?
Thank you for a good question. One of the ways we've thought about making it sustainable is that people can also, when they enter and they get to this point with the video screen, they can also put in questions of their own to just start the dialogue from there. So they're not only just interacting with a group that's looking for something specific at that moment, but they're also interacting by, or there's the possibility to interact by asking questions. And we focused on dialogue because we feel it's important and because we feel it's very difficult for the initiatives to realize that right now because they have limited time and the volunteers don't go to many places being a volunteer, so they don't talk with people that often. So it's about engagement in that way, but I hope that answers the question.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question.
Can you tell me a bit more about the prototype you built? You mentioned a database, but can you be a bit more specific about what you did during the weekend?
Well, what we've started with is this idea that we wanted to match people with initiatives. We didn't know how, we knew we wanted to use the festival. So then we started discussing concepts, of course. And we figured out that the best way to do it is to first have the initiatives make a list of tags, which they feel that describes them, and provide their information. So before the festival starts, we want to get this information from each of the initiatives. In the neighborhoods, this would be gotten through neighborhood convention centers, for example, and key people who know people in these neighborhoods. From there, we started looking at which data do we need to link together to get a profile. And based on the time constraints, the profile right now is rudimentary. I mean, there's room for improvement there. But right now, we are able to match people with the tags that they selected from a tag cloud when they entered the festival. So we focused on the bare bones of that to be able to think about how to scale the concept up. But the next thing we would develop is a better idea of the functioning of the database within this concept. We do have the app is also, as proof of concept, it's ready. Only showing it now wouldn't add much because, well, it's not very pretty to look at yet. So hopefully in the future.
Thank you very much. Give him an applause. Okay, so the next challenge is presenting itself. It's preparing itself, sorry. Which is going to be Acti, if I'm correct. Okay. Acti, you're on.
Hello everyone. I want to start with a simple question. Do you think you're social? I believe most of you consider yourself as social. And what actually makes you social and what is social? Well, social is about interaction. It's about sharing your thoughts, your problems, and your challenges with the people around you. Well, the more we get connected nowadays with devices, the more we actually lose the human touch in this connectivity which we get. And we want to change that. Well, science says there are a few actually important aspects in terms of impact on your state and your emotional state. And if we look at them, this short list, what we identify as a common ground is interaction. Interaction, because interaction allows you to finish your goals faster. Interaction allows you to get to your natural need of connectedness and your natural need of common purpose. So, what can we do about this? Well, what if we offer a real-life activity platform where you can actually meet and do the things you like with the best people we can find for you, and do it now. So we want the technology in this case to be just the bridge and to leave to the people to go through the actual interaction, the way it should be in life. So if you want, you can go around and walk your dogs with the neighbors. You can maybe learn play piano this afternoon, or if you want, you can discuss macroeconomics. So let's see how this can really be achieved. So what we did over this weekend is we have a prototype which actually covers the main implementation at the moment, which you need in order to achieve this interaction. So we wanted to keep interaction through the app as simple as possible, so the least human input and the most results. And we think this is a video, and let's see how this can possibly work. Maybe at this moment, we have already started gathering information. So we don't make use of information, but the goal is to collect as much information as we can, which can actually answer many different questions regarding happiness, regarding your habits, regarding things that actually make you happy, so we can make you do them more and allow you to do them more. So we see my colleagues, they're currently inviting people for this super cool hackathon, of course, and maybe if we're lucky, we get somebody to meet us in 10 minutes on the door, because they know where we are, if they like this as an idea. So why are we the ones solving this? In just a few hours, in fact, we managed to get to mutual human problems from a perspective of 5 different people from 5 different countries and 3 different continents. So what this means to us is that the common interest actually drove us to get to this. And, sorry?
Hey, Constantine, is this activity you invited me to?
I guess it is.
Well, yeah. Well, that's cool because I wanted to share something interesting. If you could view the data set for me. Oh, this is still the video. And yeah, could you, that tab? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so this is the social graph we created for Acti. Oh, sorry. This is the social graph we created for Acti. And what you can see are the big nodes. And they represent groups of people that had certain activities, and those activities all had a good rating. So if you click on the big nodes, now a bigger node, please. Yes, that one, for example. Then you see the persons, the individuals. And this provides us very useful information because we can easily determine common interest. We can specify which people should be matched with the people. And what's also very important for us is, let's say, some person in this group start doing less activities. You won't let your friends down. So when you see that he's doing less activities, that means that he is less happy. So immediately, the persons in this group get a notification and they start publishing more activities to him to encourage him to start doing more activities and therefore improving his state of happiness and creating a better world. We are Acti. Are you?
Thank you very much, guys.
double the force. Do you have some questions for us?
I wonder what will be the next level of your the concept you've made? What will be the next step? Yeah.
Keep forgetting that. What we're actually trying to do is gather data. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What we're actually trying to do is gather data so we can create efficient matches between people. For example, I know you, and you like to play the piano, and I also like to play the piano. So we do activities, and for example, you also like soccer, and also like soccer, and we do that a few times, and the activities were fun, so they get a good rating. Your colleague sitting next to you would like to learn to play the piano, and she does not know me, but because we had such a good interaction and good challenges, I can introduce an activity to her, or she can introduce an activity to me. So we get a match. We create a bigger social circle for people. But what's also interesting is probably a therapeutic aspect. Because like I said, if someone starts doing less activities, then you get a notification inside the group. This could be helpful for families with someone that's suffering from a depression, or a psychologist who has a group of patients who wants to monitor. Because what we'll also do is validate. Did you really go do the activity at that place? Were you together? So we have all certain ways of checking that. We all have written that out, but for the prototype, it didn't belong to the fundamental aspects of this prototype. So that's where we'll be heading.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just add something to this?
Just very short, because we have a lot of other challenges to go.
So, in order to skip the where is the gamification question, for the time we had, our gamification is in the background for our own understanding of what's the meaning of this data, because we definitely know it's hard to understand emotions, even though we're trying to. So, gamification will come at a later stage in terms of challenges and team activities, which we believe stimulate more activities, because people do more when they're with people, right? Yeah?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Next up, Living City. Are you guys ready?
Actually, that was our main project for the weekend. We had in mind to do many other things this weekend. We are the Living City Challenge. Next. As a problem stelling, we have a very big issue. We have what we call urban decay. Now, we know about urban decay for a long, long time, but actually this decade, it's not happening in suburbia, it's happening really in the center of the city. Right now we have less shops and more coffees, and soon it's going to be all coffees and then no coffees. Because nobody has a reason to come to town, because people, they want to spend their money on experiences, not on commodities. So we have a very good example in Eindhoven. It's called Smallehaven. It's about 10 years old, spick span new, with a skyscraper and a park and a shopping street, which is, well, 2 shops. And the rest is, of course, empty. And that's, what is it? And that's where the challenge begins. We want to, and aim to, make the city center regain its function as a meeting place, as a hangout place, to encourage movement of people, to physically connect with people and communicate, and to bring back warmth and safety to town. Next one. How do we do it? We want to do it by creating opportunities for gaming in the city center. We don't want to monitor people. We don't want to get their data, but we want them to participate with low effort as possible in experience, so that we can circulate better in town and have a reason actually to have coffee places in town, to have shops in town, because that's a center of circulation. Why gaming? Gaming makes us slow down when we sit to think and do stuff. Watching people play makes us hang out. Gaming encourages new social connectedness. It's a way for us gaining new experiences, and that will bring people back into town. What you want to do, what we aim to do in Eindhoven, is to have escape games. Next. Augmented reality games, public games, chess, things you can just very simply SMS like we saw, or hashtag or whatever, to make your move on a big screen in the city. And you can walk away or stay to play the whole game. Up to you. Next. Public Minecraft.
Hey
people
guys,
can
Drew.
sit down
Playing
and
some
watch
Minecraft.
as people are
Here's a
building the
nice
city
house that I
center
made.
all new
It's beautiful. It's
while they
awesome.
drink coffee. Next. And skateboarding. Using sensory to make some augmented reality and have things happen that you challenge each other to do tricks or other stuff.
It's like too much going on.
Next. So, this weekend we had our board game experiment. We wanted to go to the center city and find a screen in the market and screen there live a game. Apparently, right now we could do chess, but more games in the future. We want to have something very simple as a phone, a medium to control what's happening on the board, public board, and you want people to be able to play with themselves, okay, with the friends, with the group, with people they don't know, to create them connection together. And that's basically the idea that we started today with. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the jury?
Come on. We are not gaming, and we're not gaming because I don't like gamification, I like gaming. It's about the experiences, not about monitoring you to participate or conditioning you to participate. It's just come, play, stay as much as you can or walk away. No big commitment. I don't know where you're coming from, what you're doing, how much you eat this morning, what you do generally in your life, or you feed your cameras or videos or photos. Just easy to connect, easy to get away. Just people circulate. They circulate, they stay. They stay, they consume, they consume. Economy is running.
Because it's also about a data challenge. So in what ways does it use or create data that will somehow make the city more social or more smart?
Here's the microphone. It's basically almost the same answer. I can use data to exclude or include people. Okay? There are many other initiatives which can measure what we do in town, but they don't offer me the experience. So we wanted to focus on the experience and have it open data so everybody can participate using their toestel, using their smartphones, their communication system. That's for us the open thing. That will create more connectedness, more social interaction than having something monitoring me and conditioning me to participate in a certain thing like Microsoft does with their new Windows 10, or Google does very nicely, or what else does.
But, for example, can I see if my best friend is in town so I can meet up with him or her?
It's a nice question. How many applications can you do it with? Many. Well, you have Meetup, you have WhatsApp, you have Facebook. You can check in on Facebook. Why would I be busy with these applications, which can do it perfectly good? I don't have to spend time on that because it's already happening. What I want to offer is really the experience. If I focus on my experience, I get that the best I can. That way people want to do it. Because if I get all the connections happening around, and showing, oh, he's there in town, fantastic. Maybe he doesn't want to meet me today. Why don't I WhatsApp him and see what's happening with him? Maybe he wants to go and hang in town to play chess with me. But I really want to focus on the experience, not on the connection, because it's your friend. How about you can play with somebody in the street? In Amsterdam, they have a live chess. Anybody can sit down over there and play chess. I don't know them, but I have a contender to play chess with. And then I can get to know them afterwards. And this is basically what we want to do this weekend as well, to have it happen. But we couldn't get permission from the screen, that's the issue.
Not by me.
Not from you, but...
I tried.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, my team, my friends.
Okay, next up we have e-waste eradications.
Thank you very much. And I will immediately correct it a little bit. It is the team of e-waste eradicators, which is Whaley, Joris and myself. Timmy de Vos. Yeah, perfect. Okay, I'm going to present to you the e-waste collection at the Netherlands. Whoa, it skipped 2 slides already. Yeah, we have a problem. There is still a lot of electronic waste ending up in third world countries. And I think most of us don't like seeing this kind of picture. I hope so, at least. Another thing, for all the electronics that we have used during this weekend and that we use during our daily lives, again, it skipped one. Okay, wait. Maybe it's better if you just clicked with. Okay, so another problem is that a lot of the minerals in our electronics actually come from conflict areas where you have these kind of pictures and where, for example, child labor is going on. Also not the thing we would like to see. But it's not only on the other side of the world where we have problems. We have a big, huge problem over here in the Netherlands, actually. Because all of us know that drawer at home or that attic full of cables, old cell phones, all this electronic equipment laying around, which means that it isn't recycled. Actually, in the Netherlands, only 1/3 of all electronics are being recycled, which is little. But luckily, there are projects that are posting a solution for this. For example, the e-waste rates, which is a collection between schools. It's a competition actually between schools to collect as much of the electronics from the neighborhood, and the schools can win a school trip with this. So this is a project already going on. Another example is the e-waste arcade. This is actually a cool old school game cabin, as you used to have back in the days. But instead of throwing in coins, you can recycle your mobile phone, and in return, you get to play a game. So these things are already there. And they are gathering data, because the kids register the stuff they collect, and the machine also registers how many phones are being eaten by it. So we have a lot of untapped data, which we could put to use to activate way more people, actually the whole city, the whole of the Netherlands, by making this data open and telling, okay, in this machine we have collected this many phones, in that machine we have collected that many phones. It's all in public areas, and we can actually make these public organizations compete for who is making the biggest competition. That's what we can do with this data. So that's what we built this weekend. We made a map. First to show how much is being collected in different places. And we can also see, which is of course the activation part, where you can go to recycle your stuff and where you can contribute. But in order to be able to contribute, you got to know these things are out there. And if someone already made a contribution, they get the ability to go to, they go to one of those cabinets, they get a QR code, and with that QR code, they can send their contribution to social media, so they can show it to their friends. I've been doing well, now I challenge you to do the same. And then they get to see the map, and the map already shows how much phones have been collected, for example, in the Met Lab. but you can also see how many CO2 equivalent has been saved by this collection. And eventually, of course, the idea is that there is a competition element. These organizations, one of them will collect the most, which of course needs to be rewarded. And the nice thing is you could eventually also link it to a platform like GameBus and also gain individual points for doing this activity. So this is what we built. I'm going to give this thing to my friend Ray Lee so he can show that we actually built this stuff.
Do you need a microphone?
Yeah, I guess so. Hello everyone. So I think Timmy have showed enough of how the system works. Now I would like to share with you how they can really play with this just in your browser. First we need to get rid of this, of course. Okay, so here is the e-waste collection at NL, and we have the map of all the Netherlands, quite a few major cities we have, and we have the each bar indicates how many phones we have collected in a city. But what if we hover around this bar? Now we can see the name of the city and how the impact have been made by recycling the phone. So you can understand how much contribution the city is doing. On the other side, as we are in Eindhoven, so this is the place we live, I want to understand and know where we can actually recycle the phone. So let's click on Eindhoven, and here is the locations on the map where you can actually place your phone into the arcade. So that's how you play it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, just a silly remark, but from a game perspective, Eindhoven will always win from Etten-Leur, I think. I mean, just because there's not much more inhabitants. Yeah, but it's not. Well, no, so there are a number. I like the per capita. Yeah, that would be better. Yeah, and maybe also a bit more fancy presentation of the results and the scores.
Sorry, this is what it looks like if you have a weekend, but of course this could be fancified. Yeah.
Do you have ideas on how to present it more fancy?
Yeah, I heard you before, but yeah. So the visualization you saw on the end of the presentation with the guys running, that would be a more catchy way of presenting it in the eventual online. Yeah.
If you look at the visualization we have right now, it's kind of very simple and just a few bars, but it's pretty much limited by the data we have now. Because if we're going to make more accuracy around the Netherlands, it will be much more details in a graph instead of just a simple illustration. So if the project's complete, I think this will be much better than it looks now. So that's.
To fill in on that, we took the schools that are participating in the e-waste rates in Eindhoven at the moment as the thing that we are showing right now in the bar charts over here. But there are 10 of those schools in all of these places, but we didn't get to work the whole thing out yet.
More questions? Thank you very much. Okay, next one up, open politics.
Yes, thank you. So my name is Jeroen van der Nieuwhof. I'm part of the team of Open Politics. We're with 5 people. We are discussing, we have one goal with our challenge, and this is create awareness about topics that are being going on in the city at this moment, political topics. We looked into the data system, the system behind the city council meetings, so all the documents and information, and we found out that it's a really closed system. You can look up the information, you can download documents, but you can only download one document at a time, and there's no good search, there's no good, it's not open, so you can't build apps upon it. So it's in a closed system. So that's why we wanted to free the data. we did that by building a scraper. It scrapes all the documents and puts it in our own system, and by that we create an open platform for people like ourselves to use that data. And you can there can come a lot of projects out of that. One of them is the one we built ourselves. It's is to create discussion about local topics. So we created a Twitter bit, and along with the topics, there are unique hashtags created, and people can discuss about the topics, and the topics will be the tweets will be displayed along with the topics. So you see the tweets on the right and the topic on the left, and those tweets correspond with the topic that is displayed. And if you click on the below part, you can find polls about this. Because we can also create polls about certain topics in the city. And by just simply clicking on a smiley or a not so happy smiley, you can vote if you like this idea or don't like it. But there is, we also created a playful bit around this platform, and it's an app. We call it Cat Politics. The idea is the same. You can vote on certain topics, and by clicking or tapping on a happy cat or a sad cat, you vote for this. And who doesn't want to look at cats? So another one is an idea. You could put this in the open space, and on the city square behind us, you can create a live action game. People go stand somewhere and vote on certain topic, and the actual result is displayed on the big building. The result we get by this is that we create smarter citizens that are engaged and better informed. There's more conversation about local topics, and we created an open data platform for this. So we invite other people to build upon and to use our data. We actually have a live demo for this. Just have to wait for Koen a bit. This is actually the system as it's working right now. The screen is a bit smaller than it was designed for. But on the right, you see the agenda. It looks like the agenda on the website of the city of Eindhoven, but actually all the data is on our own system. So we just copied the design. Here you have the topics. On the left, you have all the meetings. On the right, you have the agenda of a certain meeting. And with one click of the button, you can see the you see the tweets on a topic. Yeah, you can Twitter. Can you go back, please, and click on the show the tweets, please, Koen? No, that's not what I mean. But okay, that one, yeah. These are actually the tweets. There's a randomly generated, not randomly, there's a unique hashtag, and those are the tweets with that hashtag, and they are displayed right next to the content. We also have a polling or a cat politics designed, and it's looking now a bit like this with all smiley cats. And you can click on them. The results are displayed, not really displayed at this moment, but you can click on these topics. Can we get back to the slides, please, for a bit? Because there are some things to do for us. We have a Twitter handle at the moment. We have to work on the design. We have to work on the platform a bit, but the platform is working, and we invite other people to join us and to create cool stuff with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from the jury?
Well, I'm particularly interested in the game aspect. I didn't quite catch one of your slides that the people should be standing in front of the city hall, and so if I want to say something, then I have to bring like 20 friends and stand in a certain corner of. How does it work?
Well, actually, you could stand on a place yourself, and then the next time people come and they stand on another place. We made a nice graph with 20 or something so people, but you can do it alone and say, I agree with this, and I go stand on this place, and I disagree with this, and I go stand there. So that's how it works.
Basically, it's some sort of open voting system. Okay. More questions? No? No questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Can we cut music? Thank you. So, our team is called Meet the Chair. Can you click, Allard? So, Meet the Chair. Next slide. In the old days, the water well was traditionally the place where people would meet each other, share stories, and basically strengthen the social fabric of a neighborhood. We don't have those wells anymore. In an office, it's the coffee machine. But in a neighborhood, we don't have this place anymore. We live close together, but we are not connected. We want to, with our project, strengthen connectedness between people. For those to do that, two things are important. One is a sense of being able to sense the presence of other people in your neighborhood. Basically, when you walk down the street, you see other people, or you see the traces of other people, which feeds the sense of connectivity. Another issue that is important for connectedness is a sense of expression. Being able to express yourself, your stories, your concerns to neighbors, and also being able to hear those of others and hear stories of others. So it's about expressing, sensing of others and yourself. What we find important with our project is that it allows an asynchronous way of sensing other people. So it's not necessarily real time, but basically, if you see footsteps somewhere, that's an asynchronous event, but you see that somebody was there. So that feeds that sense of connectivity. Next slide. What we want to do is bring a physical object into the space that allows for interactivity between people, and that actually provides a set of data about the presence of people in an area. We've chosen, in this case, to take an object that's pretty common in social space, so it doesn't need any explanation. It's a chair in a park that you can sit on. Actually, it's at least 2 chairs. What does this chair do? It senses when somebody is sitting on it, and it's also sensing the direction that the chair is looking in, because this chair can swivel, it can turn. When you have 2 chairs, you can do something extra with it. You can measure when those 2 chairs are occupied and when they are facing each other, because in that moment you might conclude that there's probably some people having a conversation. And I think we should now go to our demonstration. So, Allard.
So this scenario we actually built in a prototype that you see right here. And what it is, it's a setup of 2 chairs in a park, and they both have a pressure sensor, so it can detect when someone sits on it. It also has a directional sensor, so it also knows the direction it's in. So when I would sit on the chair, you see an LED light up to indicate like a flashy interactive part. It also occurs for the other chair as well. And when someone is sitting on it, it's not the ideal scenario yet. What happens next? Yeah. Thank you, Casper, for sitting on my chair. So we've also created a dashboard that loads so you can, on the internet, track what happens to the chairs. So now there's 1 chair is occupied, and if someone else would sit on the second chair, Oleg, if you would sit on the second chair, just put your finger over there. Yes, thank you. There now is a opportunity to connect, a very important opportunity, because there's two chairs, but they're not yet facing each other. So what happens when this chair slowly turns and turns and turns and turns? You see this flashy, you hear the sound, yes, there is a meeting. There is people connecting. Yes, that was the goal. Thank you. Can I have some applause, please?
Okay, so what we can do with this data, we could, for instance, visualize it. So imagine having in a city, in multiple locations, a set of chairs set up like this. It could be 2 chairs, it could be 3 chairs, 4 chairs, and with a simple visualization, you can show the status of that chair. Can we go to 2 slides back, actually? This one. The chair. What we want to do is make the chair also express what I was talking about, the presence, the sensing of previous activity on the chair. So in the floor, in the next iteration of this design, we will have LED lights that reflect back the previous movement of the chair. And on the outer ring, there will be LEDs that can actually work as a lichtkrant, how do you say that? It can display text, basically. And through an app, people will be able also to enter stories from their neighborhood, from their youth, whatever. And those stories will be linked to a certain angle of the chair. So you sit on the chair and you turn a certain direction, you will scroll through different stories from neighbors. And if people stick on a story, if you stick on a story, it will scroll by. And that's also data that says something about what stories are, loved by people. So we want to make people happier. Any questions?
Can you tell me a bit more about the stories you mentioned in the end? How are they generated? Where do you find them? How do they get into the system?
So stories can be anything that concern people. It could be something that an experience that somebody had, something happy, or maybe something sad, but something that you would like to share, that you want your neighbors to be aware of. Or it could be a memory from a long time ago, or maybe it's just that you have a good joke that you want to share. The intention is to have an app through which you can log that story through audio or through text. And that's linked then to the chair on which you're sitting when you are logging that story.
More questions? They're typing, writing, thinking. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Dankjewel.
Next challenge, HEVVEEA.
So this weekend we built our visual happiness engine, and we did it together with Robert and Gudule, and we also used the services of our Swiss knife Vincent today, who hacked for us the hardware. Sorry for the delay, the computer broke, so we had to supply a new one. We believe that happiness is not something that you yourself only create, but we also believe that the city in which you live and the community in which you live help you create your happiness, and that you also create other people's happiness. And in the next slide you'll see what the components are actually that we believe are part of creating your happiness. First of all, there is on the left side is all the government, who by the way collects government data, which we will use in our platform. On the other hand, there is the social interactions in the city that help people create more happiness within their immediate environment. And we've created there some data as well. And our platform is basically a platform that has two sides. One is the physical side of the city, where you interact with each other. And the other side is the electronic side, which is about all the data, and is the platform beneath this, this solution. Our challenge began actually with a very simple question, and that's the next slide. And it is this GGD building next door. How can we use it to visualize the happiness in the city? Now, that was the starting point yesterday. And we thought, yeah, maybe we can look at the different areas in Eindhoven and see if we can figure out how happy people are in a part of Eindhoven, and then display it on this building, or display it on other important buildings in their immediate vicinity. And so we developed the happiness factor. And the happiness factor is basically a number between 0 and 100 that tells you how happy you are, or how happy your neighborhood is, or how happy your city is. And, well, as I said, part of it is an application, which we will demo in a moment. But the other side is really physical games in the city, and you've already heard some examples in the other presentations. But one of the things we wanted to do is make a mock-up of a sort of a whistling machine. The person who whistles the nicest gets more points, and from that, people who participate in this game feel happier. And you can imagine that you can, exactly, create a lot of physical games in the city. There are some examples already out there, like a swing. If you swing with multiple people, then the swing gives off light or extra sounds. And it is actually just the participation that, and the experience that people get by participating in games that make them happier. So the only thing we do in the physical space is basically measuring the use of these physical games. And we feed that data into our system together with open data from the municipality, GGD, government, to first of all determine per area in Eindhoven, in this case, the basic happiness factor of the people. So there's a lot of data streams there. But we also use extra data to figure out additional happiness factors. We have integrated the Twitter stream, and we can integrate other social media and other external data. But the application, if you use the application, you don't need to use it, but if you use it, you can basically use this application to tell the system how happy you are. For instance, with one of the buttons at the bottom. And if you are feeling very happy, then you see that in your area, we are now in the inner city, the happiness factor goes up because the person is more happy. What we also can do is we can help people to find games and find other people in the city by going to a map, which is at the bottom left. And it shows you the map of the immediate vicinity, the people in there, and the games in the area. So you can basically find people, or you can find activities. And if you go back to the home screen again, there is another option there, and that is part of the gamification behind this platform, and it's the middle button, which shows you basically a leaderboard of the most happy areas, but also the most happy people. And if we go back to the home screen, you can also see your own happiness over time, which is this button, and it shows you your historic happiness. Well, that's not very good. Maybe you need to play a game. Yeah. So this is the first step. The next step is to look at privacy, because there's a lot of privacy data in here. And the next step is to see how we can actually visualize this. We have made a visualization here, which you can basically project on a building, but that's the easy visualization. And it cycles through all the immediate areas around me and shows you the happiness factors of all the areas around where I'm currently at. So this is sort of gamification as well, but also makes it very visual. Thank you for driving the application, and thank you for listening.
Any questions? You look like you want to
I was thinking of, it's not ready yet. It's,
A question in the making. Okay, any other questions from the jury?
Maybe I can give an answer.
What can we exactly do with the data you create?
Good question. Yes, thank you. Good question. This platform generates a lot of user-generated data that we basically integrate with the data we already have. And we can open that up anonymized, or maybe for the municipality or GGD very specifically. Now, some of the data here is very really privacy. Because if people rate their happiness, then you can see today they're very happy, and the next day they are, well, if you have a bipolar disease, then your graph goes like this, you know. And the question is, should we proactively do something with these people or not? So those are things that we need to think about.
Fine, no more questions. Thank you very much. Okay, if I'm correct, this brings us to the end of the presentations. We will give the jury some time to evaluate and see if you can find out good results and discuss a little. Take a drink with you if you have to make decisions. Good luck. Thank you, everybody.